The Albuquerque Public Schools Board of Education said last week that it's too soon to bring students and staff back to buildings, even in a hybrid model. Now, faced with a ticking clock and a short supply of vaccine, the board decided only certain groups of students should return. Other school districts have crafted a back-to-school building plan they think might work, but there's no size that fits all, certainly, and no guarantee COVID won't be spread. Here to hash it out, our Line Opinion panel, joined by Merritt Allen of Vox Optima Public Relations, Crystal Ciarza, another one of our PR pros. She's from Ciarza Social Digital, and a former state senator who now heads the New Mexico branch of the Working Families Party. That would be Eric Griego. Eric, thanks for joining us. All right, we've talked a lot about this since the calendar turned. Most educators agree kids learn better in a classroom setting, but that's a much different story when safety comes into the picture. And Merritt, there's science out there that says this is doable. There's also a ton of logistics to ramping up in-person learning. Does it make sense to call that part of the year just a wash and try to do it better when students return this summer? Is that a better way to do this?
Well, I think no one was surprised that APS has made this decision. It's simply too large an effort to pull off before the end of the school year, and the expense to turn it on and for the short amount of time. And I think it points to the fact that either APS has got to become more nimble in its management and bring in some real agile practices, or it needs to seriously look at being segmented.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Hey, Eric, go ahead. Sorry.
It's too big to succeed and too big to fail.
Just to make sure we're all clear on what you're saying, you're talking about APS as a unit is too big, not the task itself, but maybe breaking up APS. Is that what you're saying?
It's unable to really respond quickly, just in terms of its physical plant, in terms of a lot of things with its current management style. So either it's got to kind of change its perspective on how it's managed, or it seriously needs to be broken up.
Gotcha. Eric, the idea of vaccinations, you're seeing this happening across the country. Some states are, teachers are vaccinated, some states aren't. We're in the aren't category over here. Was this a bigger issue than maybe the governor might have anticipated, the idea of having teachers vaccinated before they went back to school?
I'm no apologist for APS, but this is an area where I think other levels of government have sort of really fallen down on the job. I mean, I think if we would have had a serious plan for implementing vaccinations and could have prioritized educators across the country, but certainly New Mexico, because we're a small state, and I think we're actually in the top states in terms of getting vaccinations out, but just getting hands on has been the tough part. So I don't think it's unreasonable for educators to say, look, this is, I have an elder at home, or I'm worried about my own health, and that they should be prioritized. The other part of that, I think Merritt alluded to this, is, APS is a big school system, and to really be prepared, I mean, we kind of know what needs to be done. First and foremost, get as many people vaccinated, hopefully prioritize educators and educational staff, right? But there's a lot of schools that are smaller and smaller districts that have figured this out in New Mexico and around the country. But you got to have a mask mandate. You got to have the social distancing in the schools in place. You have to have the ventilation in place. You have to have contact tracing. We know all the pieces that make it as safe as possible. It's not 100% guarantee, as we all know. But the mere size of APS and the fact that I don't think that other levels of government have been as prepared to help a big school system like APS get ready, I think is part of the problem. And I have a 12-year-old at home, and he's doing fine virtually. It's all virtual where he goes to school. But he, like many kids, just really, really are just sick of this. So they got to have some human contact, and we as have to figure this out. And it can't just be on the governor. It can't just be on APS. Certainly can't just be on the federal government. Like, we have to figure this out sooner rather than later, because I do think the social emotional piece of this is really going to take a deeper toll than folks realize, not just like grades. I mean, but really, what does it mean if you're losing a year of social interaction,
I'm afraid of the studies that will be coming out 3 to 5 years from now and show us all just exactly what you're saying. It's troublesome. Crystal, interesting that Merritt brought up APS and its ability to manage this due to its size. But you got, districts out there like Taos and Farmington. They have different plans to go back to in-person. Is this really a size question, or is it really just about competence and getting ready and, doing all the things that needs to be done? What's your sense of it?
So my sense on it is actually based from doing the actual research. I spent some time speaking to educators before knowing that this was going to be a topic on the panel today. And I spent some time also looking at the independent school perspective, especially as an independent school parent.
Right.
And it is size. It's also tactical implementation. It's also demographics. And why do I say it in that fashion? So the size of the district that many people don't realize is that APS is one of the top 10 largest school districts in the country. Implementation is also something to consider, that every school has about, a couple thousand kids that have custom plans to their lessons in terms of what classes they attend, what programming they should be in, what specialty groups they should be placed of, whether it be special education, athletics, or something along those lines. And then the third part is, the logistics of it all. So the perspective of time is something to take into consideration. Mm-hmm. The teachers only have about 5 weeks left to teach after, theoretically speaking, after spring break, which is when approximately in school would be. And doing and from the teachers, or at least from some of the individuals that are in the union, they feel that 5 weeks, overhauling their curriculum for just 5 weeks of instructional learning is not worth the effort, according to what teachers are saying. And the vaccination causes major problems because a teacher's job is to help a student. That's their mission, and that is their MO, why they wake up every morning. But at the end of the day, they're there to protect their own families, and their families are first. Which is the last point that I wanted to make about why this is such a challenging issue, is that APS is so large that the demographics of students are the demographics and studies of the different families and the different teachers differ, that nobody can agree. So in a recent board meeting, they referenced, in the APS board meeting, they referenced that they did a survey among the teachers and the parents. 75% of teachers don't feel like they should be going back into the classroom, considering the timing and also the vaccination issue. On the flip side, when they interviewed the parents, depending on what part of town that you went to, 75% of parents felt that they should go back. Another part of town said 75% of the parents shouldn't go back. Nobody can agree. And even though they have a zoning method of management in APS, the way that the district is structured, this is now eye-opening, even more so now in terms of how to deal with this certain issue.
That's a great, excellent points there. Hey, Merritt, let me read you a quote from the governor. I know you know this. Governor's office wrote to the Journal, said in part, quote, "Districts and local leadership can and should debate the when and where, but there should be no debate about the fundamental fact of whether it can be done safely in the first place." Do you agree with that?
I do. I do. And I think we see this nationally. This is coming from not just the administration, but also the CDC. We also, I think to Eric's point, our children are really missing out on just key factors in their growth and development, of being with other kids, of being out of the house. This is not good for our kids, not just from the learning point, but from the social piece of it. And vaccine is not a cure-all, because there's not a vaccine approved for children under 14.
Right.
So
that's right.
That's not a panacea. There are kids getting in-person learning. I know, because I have a relative who works with special needs children, and she's been in the classroom since October. So she has been vaccinated. I think ultimately, no, APS is not, and I think on a previous show, I said there's no way APS is going to go back to school in the classroom or hybrid for the 2021 school year.
Right.
I think what's going to have to happen is we are going to have to give every child from K-12 who has been enrolled in public schools during the pandemic, they're going to have an extra year.
Yep. That's going to be a discussion. Eric, real quick, 20 seconds if you can. This idea of sports, is there a case for doing in-person activities but not in-person learning? Is that compatible?
Yes. We're my son's taking swim lessons outside of the, kids, they're going crazy in the room. They need some interaction. We can do this safely. If we can do it safely and people are responsible and follow the best guidance that we're getting, I think we can. So that might be a place to start. If they're outside, if they follow all the protocols, I don't think it's an outrageous request to say, can we do something to get these kids some kind of, activity and interaction.
Right.
Maybe the classroom we're not ready for that, but I think we should at least try to do some of these other sports and other activities in a safe way.
It's interesting. I was watching some of the coverage in Houston on one of the affiliates out there last week during the big freeze out there. And they cut to the sports, and they were showing a high school sports girls basketball game. All the competitors were masked on the court. It was really interesting watching them buzzing up and down the court, hoisting up, shots with masks on. It can be done if we want to do it. Go ahead, Crystal. Did you say something?
It was East Mountain High has started sports this week. They're a charter school in APS. They found a way.
There you go. Example made. We're out of time for this one. We'll get reaction to Deb Haaland's confirmation hearings next.